gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Sourcing TV. My name is Kerry Hallard and I'm the Chief Exec of the Global Sourcing Association, and I'm joined today by Lisa Thorne, who's the CEO of Together Global. Lisa, hi, and thank you very, very much for joining me. So today we're going to be talking about cultural alignment. So what we're actually seeing happening at the GSA at the moment, and we're hearing sort of like quite a few of our members experiencing sort of like difficulties managing their international teams, whether they're in-house or whether they're actually outsourced. And then with the post-pandemic move of actually having more diverse, geographically dispersed delivery footprints, I think there are even more increasing kind of cultural alignment issues where they're obviously managing cultures from all different pockets around the world. So today we're going to be talking about cultural alignment, but if you could start us off, Lisa, with a little bit of an introduction, because your business is focused on cultural alignment training. What is cultural alignment training and how is it actually different from, say, cultural awareness, really?
Thank you, Kerry. Thank you for the introduction. So, cultural alignment training is about performance improvement, really, and how it differentiates itself from traditional cultural training. Traditional cultural training is about teaching awareness or sensitivity around different cultures, and so it's about one side of an engagement. For instance, learning about the other. So, for instance, if an American company is going to be working with an Indian IT outsource partner, they learn about do's and don'ts and cultural etiquette and so on, and vice versa. The Indian company will learn about US culture. What we do is different. Like I say, it's a performance improvement program. And so what we do is we are linking culture to performance. And we're demonstrating that actually when two or more cultures are working together, there is friction. And friction we define as the tension that arises from working cross-culturally. And this leads to failure, which is either not achieving the desired results or things actually going wrong. And so amazingly, we are actually the only company that we know of that is actually delivering this service. And what we do is we bring all parties together so that they can actually have an honest and open elephant in the room discussion about the cultural differences and how the cultural differences are not enabling them to get the best out of the in terms of delivery out of the partnership.
Right, okay, so you're talking about friction. Have you got any stats that sort of like demonstrate or showcase what damage that friction can do, both in terms of relationships, but also in terms of sort of like the performance and the deliverables?
Well, in terms of stats, because this is not something that's studied, there aren't any reports. We've been quite shocked and surprised, really, to see how really alone we are in this new market of cultural alignment training. And so what we have, though, is examples and experience. So what happens is at the beginning of our program, it's a 4-stage process. We do a cultural diagnostic. So we talk to each the different parties in an engagement. So, for instance, if we've got a tier 1 global bank and they're operating across the US, the UK and India, we have a team working together. Then what will happen is we'll carry out stakeholder interviews with the different parties and we'll see different patterns emerging. So, for instance, when we developed this program, we talked to stakeholders, whether senior or delivery team level in India, and there are no problems, there are no issues, that there are no examples of when cross-cultural collaboration has gone badly. It's only when it goes well, and that there are no negative stereotypes. Then, conversely, we speak to the colleagues in Germany, for instance, or the UK even, and especially America. And of course, where do I start? This has gone wrong, that's gone wrong, and everyone's full of all these complaints. And it's the same team experiencing the same issues when they're working together. The difference is culture. Because what you're seeing one culture, in the example of, let's say, the US and India, one culture where it's normal to be more egalitarian and be more forthright about operational issues, and you want to know what the truth is about an issue, and give a feedback in a relatively polite but in a direct way, versus a culture where it's more hierarchical and you don't give direct negative feedback. And so what happens is we see common issues coming up again and again. The Westerners, let's say, although there's been lots of differences between different Western cultures, will say, oh, the issue they always have working with India is no one says no. But actually, the answer is no often, but they just don't say no. There's no escalation. There's no pushing back. And this then all comes back. This then what happens is what they're being told is not what's delivered. And so this ends up with frustration, but on both sides of the engagement. Because then there's all the stereotypes about how the teams in India are not wanting to come up with ideas of their own. And then the teams, when we talk to the leadership in India, the leadership in India is saying a stereotype or an assumption that it's tell me what to do and I'll do it, means the teams in India are not able to be creative and come up with ideas. So, and our slogan is, it's not them, it's not you, it's culture, we can help. And so it's been really exciting developing this program, because whether we go to large organizations or small organizations or any sector, any industry, we see the same things coming up again and again and again.
Yes, so you said there aren't huge amounts of case studies in this area yet, because it's all still fairly new and evolving. I was just wondering whether you see additional complexities from the in-house environment that have got cultural alignment issues, and if there are then even further added complexities when you're working in an outsourced environment. So you've actually got different company cultures as well as different national cultures to kind of juggle. Just wondered what your view was on that.
Yes, we've discovered this. We've discovered that when you have co-located teams within the same organization, then you get all those cultural differences. But when you have, for instance, an organization with an outsourced IT partner working together, you then have cultural differences on top. So it becomes a very complex relationship. So by being able to look at everything through a cultural lens, this explains a lot. So when we're working with clients and we're saying, okay, we create a safe space and we say, right, okay, let's look at our workflow. Let's look at when work comes in, work gets done, work gets delivered, and let's look through a cultural lens at how our cultures are actually impacting performance. And you can see when everyone's working together that actually the impact of one culture being more comfortable with giving direct negative feedback and another culture not being as comfortable, one culture being more around consensual feedback, consensual decision making, another around top-down decision making. All of these cultural factors are impacting the workflow, and they're having a negative impact. So once we have an awareness around them, what we do with the cultural alignment training program is that we get everyone to agree on one way, a high performance culture that everyone's going to work with. And that does mean everyone adjusting on all sides of the engagement, and then you get the business results. And we notice it, we see it basically at every level. At the senior leadership level, it enables the organization to achieve their strategic goals. At a management level, and this can be tricky, especially with a hierarchical culture where management might see this as a bit threatening, because it does involve inevitably empowering the teams, but actually they're able to get better results. And where we really see a massive impact is at the delivery level, because particularly when we're looking at India, in a hierarchical culture, it's not normal, it's not encouraged for team members to speak up or challenge or express themselves. So we've designed very culturally sensitive ways to enable this. And so you see a massive input in both in performance and engagement levels at all levels of the engagement.
So it sounds like there are significant benefits for running a cultural alignment training program. I just wonder if you can quantify them from any of the experiences you've had, or whether it's just too varied. And also, it might be a bit of a demanding question, but are there any quick wins that organisations can experience?
So in terms of, I'm glad you asked that question, Kerry. In terms of metrics, the CAP program has been designed to deliver measurable business value. And so what we do is we identify a test team and a control team to establish proof of concept. And we get the test team culturally aligned, the control team isn't culturally aligned. And then we compare the performance across the CAP pilot, which is usually a business quarter, and we measure across process, business, and people. So what we do with process is this may be agile delivery, business, it's business results. What's important? Client satisfaction, quality, whatever the business results that we want to tailor the program to. And thirdly, an anonymous genuine ENPS score across the engagement. So we can literally measure by what percentage the test team that's culturally aligned is outperforming the control team that isn't, across business, process, and people. So it's all about KPIs, OKRs, and ROI. So it's all about metrics.
Excellent, excellent. And then quick wins. Is there any sort of, like, you know, indicators that you go, right, you can do this tomorrow and it will already start making a bit of a difference?
Absolutely. So here's a quick win. Now, the corporate environment is by its very nature hierarchical, irrespective of anything else. So not only do you have the corporate hierarchy, but then if you're actually operating in an environment in which, for instance, you have a classic Germany and India, or we've done programs with Germany and Libya, for instance. So you've got a hierarchical culture with a culture that's less hierarchical, particularly Scandinavian, Nordic countries. What you can do in this environment is you can, by acknowledging that actually for the delivery teams, because classically you always delivery teams in countries like India, that it's going to be more challenging for those delivery teams to basically share their knowledge, share the information, share their ideas, and to speak up. Then what you do is you say, right, okay, normally we come in and we say, do this, do that. Now we want you to adopt a more solutions mindset. So we're going to have a planning meeting where we leave you in private, the delivery team, to discuss amongst yourselves. And then we're going to come back in half an hour, let's say, and we want you to share your ideas. And so we can all work together to come up with a solution, rather than this command and control traditional style delivery model, whereby, which is frustrating on both sides, because you're not getting the best out of the teams. The teams don't feel engaged. And this has an impact on attrition, on retention as well. So that's a quick win that everyone can take away with them, just to change and be aware that actually adopting a more egalitarian environment and doing it in a culturally sensitive way will deliver wins.
Okay, fantastic. So Together Global and you and your team are partnering in with the GSA to actually start delivering cultural alignment training to our community as part of GSA's approach to ensure that strategic sourcing builds business resilience and delivers value. So we're delighted to be partnering in with you guys. Is there any final comment you'd like to make, Lisa?
Yes, Kerry, I just thank you so much. And I'd just like to say that we know from our experience that teams that are culturally aligned outperform teams that are not. So it'd be really exciting to work with your members to get some exciting results across process, business, and people, and really build up some case studies with the GSA where we've got where we're getting our own metrics really around this, because it's an exciting solution, a unique solution, and a very impactful one.
Yeah, and we're delighted to be partnering with you. Thank you so much for joining me today, Lisa. Thank you.